Hi guys, Big Monday here. Today we have another low MMR replay coaching. This is from Engie, Reddit name. In-game name's Crusader. He played the Clinks in this match. Now this guy's MMR is around, well, I said 1.7, 1.5, but we're up at about 1.7 at the moment, going by the Dota buff. Now, I've picked this match because I think in this match it's going to be a hard Clinks match anyway, but I also think there were some itemization mistakes. I've not watched the whole match through yet. I want to do this mostly off the cuff, so let's jump straight into it. And the reason it's going to be a hard game is because the enemy heroes you're against, there's nobody that's really easy to blow up. As a Clinks, you want to be looking for somebody you can sneak up on, blow up in a couple of seconds, and then run away. Never rely on your invisibility to get away. What you want to rely on is your movement speed, and you just run away. Invisibility is useful, but never rely on it. If you're getting away with it now, as you raise your MMR, you are going to get to the point where people do buy a lot of detection. And in this game, I think it was somebody on the other team. I think it was.
Prepare for battle.
Yeah, the Ogre Magi bought 20 sentries. So you're not doing great there. It's not a good start that he's already spamming sentries everywhere. That's item build. I'm not sure what Clinks' starting items are, but I don't think in a game like this that's really going to be too big an issue. So I think you should, particularly in a game at your tier, I think you should definitely get a little bit more regen. Maybe even just a fairy fire. It's one of the problems I see with a lot of people at this level is just staying in lane too low. We'll see if you actually have that problem as we go down, as we watch the game, but nice to see you checking items. Let's fast forward this a little bit while nothing's on.
The battle begins.
The prize is mine.
Now, one of the problems I think you're going to have in this match is this guy's tanky as hell, this guy's tanky as hell, this guy's tanky as hell. This guy, and this guy are all likely to pick up Mantas, and you're going to rely on silence later. Manta removes the silence. All these guys have a lot of armor. So it is a hard Clinks game. You're going to need to have a decent advantage to win this game. Let's put the last hits up. Not that I want to flame you, but see how we compare to the rest of the team. I mean, your last hit in the Clinks is rough at the start, only 45 damage. That's why it's really important, as soon as you can, go and buy a couple of items. As soon as you've got the gold for your first few items, go and buy it. Because at 45 base damage, well, it's not base damage. At 45 damage, you're getting 5 extra damage from these. At 45 damage, it's really hard to last hit, and Clinks' animation isn't great. I mean, you're going to kind of rely on searing arrows to last hit, and you really don't want to have to. What you want to be doing is abusing searing arrows to right-click the enemy without drawing creep aggro, because you can manually cast this to right-click the enemy once, and then don't right-click them again, and the creeps won't aggro to you, so you can just hit them for free. I haven't caught whether you've done that yet.
For you.
Kind of hard to watch, to see where you're clicking, and to see if the icon lights up when you've manually cast it. So, let me just go back there, one sec. So when you're last hitting under tower, if you have less than 80 damage, you need to hit the range creep twice So you have to hit it ahead of time, and then you hit it again. So it's 80 damage. Once you've got more than 80 damage, you just let the tower hit it twice and you're all good. I think maybe you should have punished him more then. Let's just watch that in slow mo. Right. As soon as he starts moving away from you, that is the point you need to start right clicking him again. When he's running towards you, you gotta dodge the spin, make sure you don't take damage. But as soon as he turns to run away, you could have got an extra 2, maybe 3 right clicks in there, and those are really important. I mean, this guy is on 290 health. He'd have been down here by now. He doesn't have any regen, so either he's going to stay in lane and he's just food for you, or he's going to have to go back, which is great for you. Try and catch if you've got the searing arrows, but...
Now that would be a tribute.
Ah, so you are using the manual cast. That's good. Spending too much time in the shop though, you're missing last hits. You need to be going for these. Easy deny here that you should be going for. I think that's a big problem you have as a Clinks. Looking from this game, is that your last hitting's terrible. You're not focusing enough on it. You need to be getting at least 50 last hits and say 15 denies by the 10-minute mark. If you can't do it, I did a video on a couple of different ways to practice. There's a custom game you can do, or you can do it against bots. But a couple of ways to drill last hits, and literally just spend half an hour. You go into a game, you practice your last hits. You quit after the first 2 minutes. You go into a game, you practice your last hits. Quit after 2 minutes. Because the 2-minute mark is a good benchmark, because that's the hardest last hitting is going to be. After you've got a couple of items and a couple of levels, it gets easier. So that 2 minutes is the hardest it's gonna be. I think perhaps a value level in Skeleton Walk would have been a good idea. I mean, it's kind of not necessary at the moment, because the Spirit Breaker can cover you if they do go on you. But a value level in the Skeleton Walk definitely would have been a good idea. I'm not saying it's necessary since you've got the cover, but it would have been useful.
My just reward.
Okay, Wraithband first, pretty reasonable.
Radiant's top
you need to
tower
get your
is
damage
under
up so you can
attack.
last hit
Radiant
reasonably.
structures
But
are
I do
fortified.
think you just need to practice last hitting. Nice hit there. Trying to fast forward through this to get to the important bits, but
Dire's top tower
if
is
I go too
under
fast, we
attack.
might miss something. At this point, you are looking too much for the kill. You are at position 1 in this game. Your focus needs to be on farming. The Spirit Breaker should be chasing him away. Your job is to farm. Now, if you think you can get a kill, then by all means, take the time, go for the kill. But your focus needs to be on last hitting. That's really, really important. But at the moment, you've only got 13 last hits, and we're 6 minutes in. You should have 2 or 3 times that at least. We can let you off a little bit because of how hard it is to last hit with Clinks from level 1, but after 2 minutes you should have enough gold to get you to enough damage where you can last hit reasonably.
Good night.
If you are going to abuse this ability to harass with searing arrows, you want to stand here, you ping them a couple of times. When they back up, you go up to last hitting. You stay around here relative to the creep wave. Ping them a couple of times. When they back up, you just carry on last hitting. Your priority needs to be last hitting. You hit them in between your last hits, but your priority should still be last hitting. At this point, despite the fact that you keep chasing these guys off a lot, Jug has as much farm as you do. And he's having trouble staying in lane against you. If if you spend
Dire's top tower is under attack.
half an hour drilling last hits before you go into your next game with Clinks, you'll find this will be more up here. So let's take some of this bit. This you really needed to get right. Waiting for the soul ring was definitely a bad call there. You really need that raid band. It's a you've been struggling to last hit for quite a while, getting that raid band, and it's important to get that extra damage.
Dire's
Maybe
middle
you got a
tower is
kill,
under
and
attack.
that'd
Dire's
let
structures
you
are fortified.
sort of buy the soul ring really quickly. Then fine, go for it. But you really needed the wraith band. I mean, look, you quite a decent chunk of damage. And anyway, by the time you get it delivered, you've got your ulti and you don't need it anymore. As soon as you have the money to get that delivered, you need to get it delivered.
Gold for
This, you're
Radiant's
wasting
bottom
time
tower
with this. You
is
should be
under
farming.
attack.
If you're not getting a kill, you should be farming.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
So we're just about to be 10 minutes in.
Dire's top
You've been
tower
relatively
has been denied.
left alone in this lane. You should easily have 50 last hits right now. But your priority is elsewhere. You're spending too much time harassing. You should harass a lot,
Dire's
like
bottom
just
tower
like you did
is
there.
under
You should
attack.
harass a lot, but it needs to be your second priority. For the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game, it needs to be your second priority. Once you get to the point where you've got enough farm to maybe start going for kills, then go for kills. And I think, did you eat a catapult then? Yes. Okay, let's do the math. Let's do the math on a catapult. Why
Tis
not?
mine.
Catapult, 800 health. So you're going to get 50% health gain. So you're going to get like 400 health. Okay, so you don't have a big creep, so you're kind of okay. Okay, yeah, I'm down with that. Don't want to go wandering too far. Let's go back to your perspective. Normally I'd complain. What you should have done is clean this camp up so that you could take the big creep, but in between waves. But that would have been the best option. Clean the camp up between waves. See, that could have been a good opportunity to go for a kill. I mean, you hit him then, and he got scared. But let's say you want to go for this kill. He's looking low enough. What you do? You walk into the side shop so he doesn't know where you are. You shadow walk in here. You come round the back. You come here. You hit him and hit strafe, and then you just keep hitting him. Nothing he can do.
Oh,
9 to 6. So if he reacts fast, you're gonna have to get to the creep wave quickly. But you were doing serious damage to him. If you were a little bit more aggressive, you've got to be careful to be reasonably close to the creep wave. But I think you could have got that kill if you sort of went behind him. He does have the mana for ulti, so. And I would have had to thread the needle a bit with staying close enough and coming behind him. But you certainly could have come up much more aggressively before you started hitting him. That way, he gets scared a little bit later, and you get a couple more hits in before he.
Dire's
Get a couple of
top
more hits
tower
in
is
before he
under
gets out of
attack.
range. Let's go back to player perspective. Probably chase that as well. Again, he's got his ulti, so it's going to be dangerous. One more.
Is this my fate?
Perfect.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom
Honestly,
tower has
I
fallen.
mean, in terms of your
Dire's bottom
sort of
tower
decisions
is under
to
attack.
when to harass,
Dire's structures are fortified.
when to fight these guys, they're not terrible. I think your biggest problem is you need to be much higher on this last hits chart.
Dire's bottom
Your
tower
major
is
problems are
under
going to come
attack.
later, so let's skip to. Well, let's at least skip to when you're
Double
alive.
damage.
So right, here's one. You're first off going an Orchid. Now, if you get this super early and you get a good lead, then Orchid versus Jug and Anti-Mage is reasonable because it stops them ulting, which is how they're gonna avoid your damage. Alright, it stops Juggernaut ulting and it stops Anti-Mage blinking. So if you've got a good enough lead that you can blow them up during the silence, then great, Orchid's going to be fine. But if you can't blow them up during the silence, nice kill. If you can't blow them up during the silence, then they're going to escape, and both these guys are going to buy a Manta at some point, which will remove the silence. The only guy that's really going to be too worried about your silence in this game is the Ogre Magi. And the Ogre Magi has a huge amount of armor, so you're probably not going to be able to blow him up without a Deso, at the very least, or some big damage items. So the silence isn't really going to do that much for you in this game. Now
Bravery and stupidity.
Yes, missed that.
The prize is mine.
Fancy beating you here. Bravery.
Kind of a difficult one, that. I mean, kind of got to assume that you're visible at all times, but in the 1.5k bracket, people don't buy detection anywhere near as often as they should. So a lot of the time, invisibility means invincibility, but you should really get into the habit of assuming there's detection everywhere. Because you won't get away with things like what you just did when you get into a higher tier. And if you play assuming it, you're going to win. You're going to be much more likely to win it in the games people do buy it, and your MMR is going to go on. Don't know what he was planning then. Again, no dust. In a higher level game, you'd have died there. Probably get up to in that situation, you'd have probably get away with it up to about 3k. Give or take, you know, it's not something you can really put a solid mark on, because there are players at every tier that are better at getting detection when they should, and there are players at really high tiers that are terrible at it still.
Gods.
Definitely need some health. I don't know what the soul ring's for in this game, but you don't need the mana regen. Your mana is full. You've not had mana problems this game. You don't need the mana regen from this. You don't need the mana regen from this. This is to stop people escaping, and we'll see when you get your Orchid. Fast forward a little bit. When you get your Orchid, we'll see if you actually get any kills on the Anti-Mage or the Jug because of it. If you don't, then it's a completely wasted item. If you can get a kill on these guys and stop them getting their Manta as early as they do, then you're getting value out of it. But if you don't get a kill on these guys, you are not getting value out of it. And unless you've got a good start, you are not going to get it first. Or maybe you're going to get it first because they're going to go for other items, but it's not going to be long before they have their Manta. Let's just we'll watch this fight and then we'll check on Jug's items. Well, that's a bit redundant.
Roshan has fallen to the Dire.
Perfect.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Nice use of the invis to get the speed boost then. He knows you're coming. You're not going to get an Anti-Mage. Not without some extra way to close the gap, which does bring me to War Staff. It's not a common pickup on Clinks, but I actually think it would have been a good pickup this game. We'll get into that a little bit more later. We'll talk more about items.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So let's take a look at Jug's items. Jug is not very far off his Manta.
Radiant structures are
Anti-Mage has a Battle Fury, not that far off the Manta. Spectre's rushing Radiance.
Radiant's top
So-
tower is under attack.
But still, you're not going to kill a Spectre
Radiant's top
very
tower
easily.
has
Not,
fallen.
you're not going to kill a Spectre 1v1 unless you've got a good lead. Even with the silence.
My just reward.
Going off looking for solo kills, but you needed a much better start and much better farm to be able to get the solo kills, because there's nobody you can kill easily in this game. I mean, I think you get a bit unlucky as well. I mean, you are spending a little bit of time running around
Shadows take us.
when just out of bad luck. Silence on. Yeah, so we've got 2 Orchids on your team
Lie fallow in your
against a team that isn't going to go down quickly.
dominating.
I mean, it's good. I mean, it's good to stop. It stops Jug ulting or spinning. It stops Anti-Mage blinking away. It stops Spectre ulting to escape or using a Spectral Dagger. But all those guys are going to go Manta and be able to purge the silence anyway. So unless you get it super quick and get a couple of kills, it's just not going to be worth it. And that's the thing. I think what you should have done this game is recognise
My
that
finest work.
you are having a slow start, and the Orchid's just not going to do it for you. And this will be the test. Can you kill a support?
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
You daren't even go for a support kill. You're that far behind.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
You really needed that kill to catch
I'll
up.
sharpen my claws in your bark, prophet.
And you dusted, unfortunately. See, that's one of the problems with this game. If that was a Crystal Maiden, that was a Cottle, that was a Lion, Elena, you'd have had that kill. And you'd have been gone before they had time to react. But because he's so tanky, it takes way too long. So you need a good start.
Radiant's
See,
middle
Jug
tower is under attack.
closing in on his Manta. You still don't have your Orchid. You're alive again.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
Oh, that
What I probably would have done in this game, since you're having such a rough start, is get your supports to get some wards up, get them up aggressively, so you can look for where people are when they're separated.
Shadows
Coordinate with the Nature's Prophet. Tell him who you're going to go on,
Swiftly through forest shade.
and get him to TP in and be that extra bit of damage in. Because these guys are too tanky. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get this, honestly. Again, you're assuming invisibility is invincibility. Technically, it's just a sentry ward, so you manage to walk out of range. But that was super dangerous. Very close to death. And Jug, has Jug got his Manta yet? Very close. How did you die? Oh, that was unfortunate. You could have seen that coming, but you know, somebody diving your tower after you've ran that far, it's not all that common. Report Zeus. That you also need to chill. I mean, I do get a hint from this game that you're a little bit tilted, and being angry like that, you are definitely tilted. Telling people to report Zeus, and yeah, he didn't have a great lane, but let's take a look at the scores. You've died just as many times as Zeus has. Zeus has more kills than you do and more assists. Zeus is doing much better than you are this game. And you needed to be... We're 25 minutes into this game. You should either have 120 plus last hits, or you should have several kills. Either you are spending the time farming creeps, or you're spending the time killing people. Now Clinks is a ganking
Dire's
hero,
courier
so
has been killed.
I would hope that you're more getting the gold from ganking.
Radiant's middle
should
tower
have
is
one or
under
the other.
attack.
So you really shouldn't be blaming teammates. I mean, this is just a bad game for you, and you had a bad. The way this with this lineup, the only way you are going to have a good game is if you get a good head start. And
Dire's top tower is under attack.
you
Radiant's
didn't
bottom
really
tower has
do
been
horribly compared to the other people in the game. I mean, you clearly didn't have a great start, but compared to the other people in the game, you
Radiant's
didn't
middle
do
tower has
terribly.
been
But you
denied.
end up this little bit behind, and it's
Dire's
just the
top
sort of
tower
lineup
has
where you
fallen.
need to be really far ahead. Slow down a minute. Jug is 500 gold off his Manta. Anti-Mage just waiting for the courier and 1,000 gold. Spectre. They're still working on the Radiance.
What magic?
Nice of him to go far too deep like that. Okay, that's super throwy. That is super throwy. That Jug's Manta.
May
So
I
you
cut
can't kill him with the silence anymore. And breaking viz. I mean, he has an idea you're following him. Did you? I don't know if you broke him viz then. Let's just rewatch that. I don't know whether you broke him viz or he just guessed.
May I cut in?
He just guessed. He has a sentry there, so it isn't showing because I'm watching your perspective. So you walked under a sentry. Again, you've got to assume. Just always assume you're visible. Unless you are certain there isn't sentries there, just assume there is. It's that moment you hesitate there and he can see you. I mean, I love doing that to invis heroes like Clinks. Because you know half of them just think that they're invincible because they're invisible. Really hope you're going to go for that jug kill. This is not the guy to go for. Well, you could have been chasing the Juggernaut with like 1, maybe 2 hits. Sorry, he's dead. Oh, the Star... Oh, yeah, the Mirana got... He went in the fog then. Okay. Reasonable. See, I'm watching this in a replay and even I miss things sometimes. That's what I get for watching it at speed. I'm amazed that the Ursa didn't turn around and hit you then. I mean, to chase a guy... If he'd have hit you 2, maybe 3 times, you'd have been dead then. You'd certainly had to just back off. I mean, when an Ursa's that deep and he doesn't have his blink anymore, he is kind of screwed. But
Dire's middle tower is
he also,
under
a
attack.
way he can keep himself alive is just to keep right clicking. You probably should have been a bit cautious, backed up. What is this?
My soul.
Okay, that's just crazy.
Dire's middle
So,
tower is
you
under
died
attack.
here recently. You should know they can see you. And having an orchid now does not make you immortal. I mean, this guy just hit you. Just walk
My
away.
soul.
I mean, he clearly has detection there. You have bonus move speed. Just walk away. That's the only thing you could have done there. There's no way you're gonna kill anyone when you're only on around 200 health.
Gold for me.
I think you need to work on kiting a lot more. By which I mean you need to hit someone a couple of times, back away a bit to safe distance, hit them again, back away. In that case with the anti-mage, I mean you could have used your move speed advantage to sort of back away a bit, hit him. In that case where he just killed you, when he hit you, you just run to the point where your shadow walks up again and you're out of his true sight range. Hit him a couple of times, shadow walk, disappear again. At this point, we've got
My just
Soul Ring
reward.
that's doing nothing for you because you're never out of mana. You don't need it. Orchid, which is doing nothing for you because for it to do anything for you, you needed it before this guy had his Manta, and before this guy had his Manta, and he finished his Manta. You got no kills with it. Pointless. If the enemy has heroes that are really reliant on spells, or there's someone you know you can kill during the silence, like a Phoenix, then it's great. I mean, if you were silencing a Zeus, if you were silencing a Crystal Maiden, if you were silencing a Lion, they'd all be pretty solid choices.
I do not
But you're
fear
never going to
the
kill any of
flames.
these guys during the silence unless you've got a big
To
lead.
guide my hand is
I mean, you could certainly argue, if you'd had a good start, we could have argued an Orchid would have been a good item, because you're far enough ahead that just the additional damage is really good if you're ahead. But when you're behind, you need to start thinking about, am I getting utility out of this item? And you're not.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Now, let's see if we can get a good
Dire's
example of
top
picking
tower is
people
under
off the
attack.
fight.
Rashad has fallen to the Radiant.
Rewind and watch that back to normal speed. Okay, that's reasonable. Go for the Roche. I'd have moved the TP though.
Rashad has fallen to the Radiant.
The anti-mage does have quite decent armor. He's got 18 armor as it stands. You're not going to do a lot of rank damage to it without minus armor. Also, you need to move your Aquila back in. This is where you move the TP. I mean, it's on cooldown. You are not going to need the TP for that fight. Whereas the extra stats you get from the Aquila, the extra armor you get from the Aquila,
Radiant's middle
could have made
tower
it
is
easy
under
difference.
attack.
I mean, if we go back there, just look at this. The armor aura. I mean, it's only 2 armor, but it's going to be like worth about 20 health. A little bit more health. I mean, there's a good chance you'd have made it past your tier 2, which would have maybe gave the Spirit Rake a chance to reinitiate.
killing spree.
He wasn't watching there. I
Radiant's
mean, you'd have made a
middle
couple
tower is
extra
under
hits,
attack.
maybe got it. You'd have at least wasted a lot of time for the enemy. Okay, so I'm going to skip Bunch Bastard now because I think I'm just labouring the same point, but I want to watch your building.
Radiant's middle tower is
You
under
go and
attack.
beat KB.
Radiant's middle
I don't think
tower
I've
has
seen you
fallen.
get stun locked at all this game. The way you are getting stunned
Radiant's
mostly
bottom
in this
tower is
game
under attack.
is because the Ursa has a basher. That goes through BKB, so that's not going to do anything. Anti-Mages just spot a basher, but it goes through BKB.
Radiant's top tower
gonna
is
do
under
anything.
attack.
Wouldn't surprise me if the Jug gets one sooner or later. He's got the Diffie. I mean, he's going to protect you from the mana burn, but
Radiant's
that's it.
top tower has fallen.
I mean, this guy does have a stun, but it's a short duration. And ideally, you don't want to be starting a fight. Somebody else is going to start the fight. He's going to cast his stun on that person, and then you are free to just walk in and kill him. So BKB, I don't think is a really good shout this game. It's not a good item.
Oh, that would be a treat.
Yeah, I think what we'll do after we've watched this, we'll switch to Dota buff and just have a discussion on some of the other good items for Clinks.
Nothing.
Juggernaut!
When you're being chased in Viz and there's somebody with an AoE spell like that, consider when you're in Viz just backing up and going the other way. So you're getting angry again. This was a difficult game to use. The only way you won this game is by 1, getting a good early lead, or 2, by the enemy team screwing up.
Radiant's bottom
This
tower
shouldn't
is
be a
under
win.
attack.
I don't think with you.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Clinks versus those heroes, it's just not good. I mean, you get a good lead. It doesn't matter that they're too tanky. But you don't get a good lead. You can't kill anyone. Which means there's a ganking hero. If you can't kill anyone, you can't fulfill your role. And you're just a big creep. That's all you are this game, is a big creep. Now, we could have itemized better. We have an Orchid and a Soul Ring that have done nothing for us, and we go for BKB, which all that's going to give us is 200 extra health. You could have gone Hurricane Pike for that. Just free cam and take a look at the Hurricane Pike's stats.
Tis mine.
Take a look at Hurricane Pike. Where are we? That would have given you 15 strength. It would have given you 300 health. It would have given you more health. It would have given you more range, so you can kite better. You could sit in the fog, so you don't even need your invisibility. Your invisibility will then be for chasing people down when they're running.
The prize is
or
mine.
it'll be for just for the move speed bonus. Close that off. Again, you are looking to kill people. And that's normally what you want to do with a Clinks, but when you're behind like this, I think you just can't kill anyone. What you want to be doing is waiting for your team to have a fight. Don't fight. Wait a few seconds. Wait for somebody to get isolated. And then go and kill that guy. Wait for whoever goes in first and gets low. Then you go on. I mean, look at this. See if you initiate first. That's great. I mean, you don't initiate first. You're all good. You've got reasonable damage. It's not enough because of how much armor these guys have got, but you've got reasonable damage. Clearly got vengeance here, so back the fuck up. So this is what you should be doing. Getting out, making sure they don't know where you are at all times. You're nearly there now.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Structures are fortified.
Yep, not good. And by the looks of it, this is done to GG.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Or it's
attack.
about to be.
Radiant's
This
middle
match
tower has fallen.
was only
Radiant's
42 minutes
middle
long.
barracks have
That's
fallen.
GG. Okay, let's talk about items now. We talked about I don't think your farm is good enough. You need to practice your last hit in. Understandably, this was a bit of a rough Clinks game. Let's actually, while we're talking about items, let's bring Dota buff up. Dota buff. So this is your profile. Let's go heroes. That's full screen. Bit bigger. There we go. Okay. Let's talk about Clinks' item and when they're good. Because some of the items I think you probably would have ended up getting in that game were probably not necessarily the best items in Clinks overall, but would have been the better items for that game. So let's look BKB. Now, in a lot of games, BKB is going to be great. If there's a lot of stuns on the enemy team, huge amount of magic damage, BKB is great. BKB is usually a solid item, but in that game, you've got mana burn to worry about, and there are other ways to avoid being right-clicked. And there was one stun on the Ogre Magi to worry about. And since you shouldn't be initiating, that stun should be used before you start a fight. So in that particular game, I think BKB was not a good pickup. They've already gone over why I think Orchid was a terrible pickup. You see, the win rate on it is not good, even though it's picked up a lot. And it's picked up a lot because you end up committed to it by the time you realise you're a little bit behind. I think probably hold off a bit and sort of, before you even start building it, ask yourself, do I have a lead? Or is there heroes that Silence is going to be super good against? So Dragonlance. Dragonlance is great on any ranged hero who relies on not being seen, like Clinks. Hit people from the fog, you don't have to waste your invisibility then, and then you can use your invisibility and your move speed to escape. Solar Crest we'll get to in a minute. Let's have a quick look down. So Hurricane Pike. And I said a 4-staff earlier, and what I really meant is to build that into a Hurricane Pike. Because of the Dragonlance effect, the extra range is great. But Ursa, if you kite him, he's useless. So he blinks on you, you Hurricane Pike him, and before he can walk to you again, he's dead. You can kill him before he closes the gap again. So 4-staff is a great counter to Ursa. Again, Jug, if he spins you, you just 4-staff your way out of it. If Spectre slows your movement speed with a Spectral Dagger, or she uses her ult to get on top of you, your Hurricane Pike, it gets you away. Now, it doesn't give you the most damage. There's a lot bigger damage items. It gives you a little bit of damage, but it also gives you 300 extra HP, which gives you more time to react against things like Ursa blinking on top of you. And the spin. It gives you enough HP regen that you can jungle and you're always going to be full health. It's going to solve your mana problem. You seem to want the Soul Ring but you never were out of mana in that game. It just wasn't happening. Soul Ring was overkill. I mean, maybe there's games where you're going to need it, but you didn't really need it. So, Oblivion Staff again. Let me see Orchid. Let's. I mean, Diffusal not in that game. Not with. Those guys wouldn't really care if you're burning their mana too much. Lincolns, no, not in that game. Targeted spells not great against you anyway. Mithril Hammer probably would have been reasonable. I mean, it would have increased your farm rate. Mithril Hammer, what am I talking? I mean Mjolnir, obviously. Would have increased your farm rate. And it gives you some AoE damage to clear off the Manta Illusions. It's not great, but it would have been worth considering. Or Eye of Skadi probably would have been really good that game because it helps you kite the enemy heroes. So what you do is you hit them for the move speed slow, you take a few steps back, you hit them for the move speed slow, you take a few steps back. So it's filling the same role as the Hurricane Pike does. It makes it really hard for you to die because it makes you a lot more tanky, and it makes it so enemy heroes can't keep hitting you. You walk away, you hit them, you walk away, you hit them, and they just can't get close enough to hit you. That enemy team was mostly melee. It was entirely melee. So if you lean towards items that help you kite, like the Hurricane Pike and like the Eye of Skadi, then the enemy team has no way of killing you, and all of a sudden you can't lose. You can't die. Where you're going to have way more gold. You only had 10k net worth at the end of that game. You lost about 3,500 gold just in deaths, and that's not even calculating the farming time that you lost because of that, or the ganking time. But so I think that should have been your item build. It should have been Hurricane Pike first, then Eye of Skadi, because the Silver Edge did nothing for you. The 4-staff that's reasonably cheap for a carry would have saved your life against Ursa. There's a good chance it would have saved your life against Spectre. Anti-Mage, when he blinks on you, you're gone. So they're good. They're good items. Now again, with tankiness, so all you were really getting from your Silver Edge in that game is sometimes you got some damage amp when people didn't remove it with Manta. Sometimes you got some damage amplification. The thing is, if you'd have bought a Deso, you'd have still got the damage amplification. Let's take a look. Where's the Orchid? The Orchid is 4,075 gold. Deso is 3,500 gold. You would have done more damage in this particular game. you'd have done more damage with the Deso than you would have done with the Orchid. Because of the minus armor, because of the damage. It's 50 damage. I mean, this gives you a little bit of attack speed and damage. So you do the maths. It depends what other items you have, but because you were the active component of this wasn't really giving you anything. Just to have gone Deso would have gave you much more, and a Solar Crest would have. Solar Crest really good against Ursa as well, because you evade his attacks. His damage doesn't scale up as fast. And again, Solar Crest is minus armor. It would have helped you get through the Ogre Magi's armor. The Ogre Magi has, sort of, depending on how he's scaled, sort of 8 to 12 armor, unless he's bought something really tanky, which is unlikely. So you get the Deso, it's going to massively increase the damage the Ogre Magi takes. And that moment we had where you tried to kill him and you couldn't, you'd have killed him with it much faster. You'd have got out alive. And all of a sudden he's dying as fast as like a Crystal Maiden will, or a Cottle, or whoever. Not a good game for an Orchid, not a good game for a Clinks, fortunately. So let's quick look if there's anything else that really stands out. No, I don't think so. I mean, we could have gone some really weird shit. You could have built a Halberd counter the Ursa, to count the other guys would have manted it off, but it would have been pretty good against the Ursa. Definitely not in Biz. Okay, I think we're good there. I mean, you could have used an Abyssal Blade to anytime they get on top of you, Abyssal them, but still it's not a great. I don't think it's that good. I mean, the trouble with it is you need the damage already to take advantage of its stun. Because your range, you don't get the bash, you just get the active stun. So you stun for 2 seconds. If you've already got a shitload of damage, Abyssal Blade's really good because you can walk in, you Abyssal Blade the anti-mage. You got good damage, you got a lead, then he just dies. That's why this item has a low pickup rate but a high win rate, because people get it when they already have a shitload of damage. So it's kind of, a lot of the time the game's going to be over if you've got a good enough lead to really want it, because you need to be able to kill like an anti-mage in 2 seconds. So unfortunately not. Dagon's terrible that game. Everybody was tanky. I think we're good there. Let's take a so item build. Consider who you're playing against. Consider how the silence is going to work. In this game, the only way the silence was going to work if you stop Jug ulting, if you stop anti-mage blinking, and you get a kill in that time. And that's, to do that, you need the Orchid early. If you're still going to go Orchid, you need people who are really heavy spellcasters like Zeus, like Lion, like Lena, like Storm Spirit. It would have been worth an Orchid against them. But in this game, there's nobody on this team it's really worth getting an Orchid unless you have a really good start. When you are behind with Clinks and you're struggling to get kills by ganking, switch back to in-game, you're struggling to get kills by ganking, what you want to do is wait for a fight to start. Don't join the fight immediately. And in most fights, you're going to find somebody is going to get initiated on, and they might get out, they might not. And what you're going to look to do is skirt around the edge of the fight, look for that guy who's trying to escape, and then you pick him off. It's probably going to be like an Ursa who is initiated and bitten off more than he can chew. So you wait for him to be retreating, you skirt around the edge of the fight, and then you pick him off. And all of a sudden you're still on full health and you've taken out a core. Then you can reinitiate the fight, or look for anyone else who's trying to retreat. Now, if you get lucky and you get 3 or 4 kills like that in a row on cores, all of a sudden you've got the damage items you need to have that advantage and just go and blow anyone you find up and you can go back to ganking. But when you're stuck in this point like you are in this game where nobody is squishy enough for you to kill, you've got to just skirt the edge of the fights and look for people trying to run away, people who get low. Don't just go into a fight and have this 5v5. Let your team have the fight. So your team's fighting here, enemy team's here, your team's here, they go at it. You want to be sort of coming round where the enemy team aren't going to see you in that fight. You're going to stay in the fog as much as you can until you're ready to go in for a kill. There are going to be moments where that's not true, and you will just have to commit to the fight, and that takes a bit of experience. But for the most part, when you're behind like this, look for pickoffs. When you can't gank, look for pickoffs. Hang out near where your team are going to fight, or tell them to go and make a fight. So I do think partly this was a rough game, but it was certainly winnable. It's Dota. Every game's winnable until you get up to like 8k MMR and some retard picks 5 cores, but that's not going to happen at that MMR. That's really not. But yeah, it was a rough game, admittedly. What's this? Oh no. But yeah, keep an eye on, when you're playing Clinks, keep an eye on Manta Heroes. If the enemy team is full of Manta Heroes, you're not going to get value out of an Orchid unless you get it super early. So I hope that's useful to you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for submitting. See you later. Bye bye.